go through something that I found here. There's a lot of myths out there about how domestic violence starts, what it really is the cause of, and maybe you can kind of help just, kind of get rid of some of those myths that are out there. The first one is, it says, when a couple is having a domestic violence problem, it is just that they have a bad relationship. Often, it's poor communication that is the problem.
Absolute lie.
And why is that?
Because a man should never, ever hit a woman or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has problems. Everybody quarrels. But
Mm-hmm.
when it gets to the point where you physically have to push somebody, hit somebody, slap somebody, mm-hmm. spit on them, throw things at them, that's a major red flag. You need to get out of that relationship quickly.
Most domestic violence incidents are caused by alcohol or drug abuse.
That's another myth.
And why is that?
Because he was not a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
The man that I was involved with did not drink, did not smoke, mm-hmm. didn't do drugs.
Okay. There you go. A lot of people think that, oh, well, if the person's an alcoholic, they're going to beat you up. But like you're saying, that's a myth. In fact, it states here that many batterers are not substance abusers at all. And how people behave when they are under the influence of alcohol and or drugs, it depends on a complex combination of personal, social, physical, and emotional factors. And like many other types of behavior, alcohol or drug-affected behavior patterns are culturally learned as well. But having that problem doesn't make someone abuser.
No.
So no. That's definitely a myth. Here's another one, and this is a big one. Domestic violence is often triggered by stress. For example, the loss of a job or some financial or marital problem.
That's another myth. Because we all go through difficulties financially, loss of a loved one, money problems, sick. You get sick and you can't work. There's all kinds of issues, but never gives anybody a reason to hurt someone that they say that they love.
Yeah. That's very, very true. And here's a major one that a lot of people will say is true. A huge myth. The victim did something to provoke the violence. That's
the biggest lie you'll ever hear.
And why is that?
Because you could just walk across the room. Mm-hmm. And if that man already has a violent within himself, mm-hmm. There's anything that you do, nothing that you do, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. He will find a reason to strike out at you.
Yeah, and that's definitely true what you're saying. The paper here from the college that we retrieved this from says, no one deserves to be beaten, battered, threatened, or in any way victimized by violence. Batterers will rarely admit that they are the cause of the problem. In fact, putting the blame for the violence on the victim is a way to manipulate the victim and other people.
Absolutely.
As well. So that goes along with what you were talking about earlier as well, how he manipulated you and
yes.
made you feel like you were the one that you were doing something wrong.
Yes.
Okay. And now another myth is most batterers simply lose control during violent incidents and don't know what they're doing.
That's another myth. That's a lie.
And why is that?
Because everyone gets angry,
mm-hmm. but
everybody has a choice to control themselves.
Yeah.
But they just choose not to mm-hmm. because of their own issues that's within inside of themselves.
And in this situation, do you feel like he knew what he was doing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He can't blame it on drugs. He can't blame it on alcohol. He can't blame it on anything. Because he was sober all the time.
It was a conscious decision to manipulate
yes.
and hurt you. Here's another myth. Domestic violence is a less serious problem, less lethal than real violence like street crimes.
I disagree.
And why?
Because there are more women today that are tolerating abuse than there was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I believe that is because so many more women have lower self-esteem today. And just recently, we had that incident where that NFL football player was beating up his wife, and everybody saw it. But yet, he denied it. Now, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
And it comes down to the bottom line again. Nobody has a right to touch anybody. And violent crime, domestic violence is just as the highest crime as it is if you go out there and kill somebody, because a lot of women have been killed over this.
And that's true. Boston University, the research that was done here says it is a terrible and unrecognized fact that for many people, home is the least safe place. Domestic violence accounts for a significant proportion of all serious crimes: aggravated assault, rape, homicide. Furthermore, when compared with stranger-to-stranger crime, rate of occurrence and levels of severity are still underreported for domestic violence as well. So that goes along exactly with what you were saying on how this is not being reported on.
Exactly.
And that's why we're here today, to try and raise awareness now about domestic violence. Okay, Cece, so what are some of the warning signs that you're in an abusive relationship that you would say are some of the warning signs? What would you say?
Usually it's very subtle, like for instance, who you're on the phone with, who you're calling, how come you're on the phone so long? If you go to the store, why are you gone so long? Why are you wearing that? Why do you have to wear that? And you don't have to be an attractive woman, or you don't have to be an unattractive woman. A man that's abusive just wants to totally control everything that you do, as far as even your friends. But usually they have a really strong sense of being insecure, to the point that they don't want anyone talking or looking at you, in case you might get sucked in by them and lured away from them, and making them realize that they're not who they really are. Because men that are abusive like that, usually other people can see it, and they'll tell you, and that's part of the reason why they don't want you to have any friends. That's why they're very jealous, very insecure.
Because who they are can be seen, like you said, by other people. They don't want to show that to other people.
No.
And they want to control you, and they want to manipulate you.
Very much.
And that's their primary goal in that relationship. Boston University gives us some tips here on warning signs of abuse. Let's take note on what some of those are. It says, are you with someone who is jealous and possessive toward you, like you mentioned, won't let you have friends, checks up on you, won't accept breaking up with you? Exactly what you said. Tries to control you by being very bossy, giving orders, making all the decisions, doesn't take your opinion seriously.
Yes. They're
scary. You worry about how they will react to things that they say or do. They threaten you, or they use weapons. A weapon could be a plate they're throwing at you, like in your instance as well.
Yes.
That they're violent. They have a history of fighting, losing their temper, brags about mistreating others. Did that happen? Did he brag about mistreating others, or he?
No, he actually kept that pretty well hidden, because he had, and the other sign that I noticed with this particular man, he didn't really have friends, and the friends that he did have lived out of state.
Oh, okay.
And so when I would try to communicate with his friend, he wouldn't allow me to. We were always he just wanted it to be me and him.
Keeping it at a distance.
Yes.
He don't want you to find those skeletons in his closet.
Exactly.
There's also pressures you for sex, is forceful or scary around sex, thinks of you as a sex object, attempts to manipulate or guilt trip you by saying, if you really love me, you would. Gets too serious about the relationship too fast. Another area too, we talked about it earlier, that this is not necessarily a cause for abuse, but sometimes the person will be abusing drugs or alcohol and then try to pressure you to take them.
Yes, yes.
As well. Blames you when they mistreat you.
Yes.
Says you provoked them, pressed their buttons, made them do it, led them on. They have a bad history. They have a history of bad relationships and blames the other person for all the problems. Has hit, pushed, choked, restrained, kicked, or physically abused you. Your family and friends have warned you about the person or told you they were worried for your safety.
Yes.
As well. Also, here's something to keep in mind. If you hear what these warning signs are, and if you answered yes to any of these questions, or someone else that you might be thinking about, just know that there is help available. Some of the areas where a person can go to help is their local church group they can go to. Many churches have groups for women where they can reach out and talk about the relationship they're in, and talk about if there's domestic violence going on. A couple other areas, the staff at a domestic violence or sexual assault program, a police officer as well. Don't be afraid to go to the officers as well. Take your stand against domestic violence. A member of your family, talk to them about it. A teacher or a school counselor, your friends or their parents, your priest, minister, rabbi, what we're talking about, a doctor, a nurse, people in court, the district attorney, or a victim witness advocate, or another adult you trust, your friends as well. These are all people that you can reach out to, as Cece did. We have to take a stand against domestic violence because it has to be stopped. And is there a message that you'd like to tell anybody out there, or people across the world, or across in this district, or in this city, or in your city? Is there a message for women that you have, or anybody that's going through domestic violence? What's your message?
Well, my message is that no one should be allowed to be treated with domestic violence, as far as hitting and pushing, and even to the point of possibly even being killed, because what's going to happen is going to trickle on down to your children. Then your children will see it, they're going to grow up accepting it, and then you're going to end up mistreating your children, just like that old saying is. The husband hits the wife hits the kids, and the kids kick the dog. And it really does happen that way, because we all have to release anger. But if I can get one message just to one woman out there, don't ever accept the fact that if a man tells you that he loves you, and he turns around and slaps you, insults you to the point where you feel like you're absolutely nothing, get out of it. There is help, more help than there ever has been since I was 20 years ago. And I encourage you, even if you're a man, don't ever allow anybody to hit you or to harm you in such a way that you absolutely feel that you're a worthless human being, because you're not. And I just encourage you, please get help.
Thank you so much for being here today, Cece.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for watching Raising Awareness Now. If you or anyone has any questions, you can reach us at raisingawarenessnow@gmail.com. Once again, remember to stay informed and stay aware about these issues. Raising Awareness Now is about real people, real issues, real life. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.